the group, checking out what is the most challenging around weight loss and nutrition. You guys came back with knowing what to eat and how much to eat, right? Both of them and how that works. So we're going to go over 3 simple steps that you can start implementing today to be able to get a better handle on food and what that looks like, because we've overcomplicated it, my friends. It really is simple. It truly is. And the reason why it's been so complicated because there's so much information out there. So it's time to get back to basics, because basics is where we make the shifts. And when we keep practicing that, guess what? We start seeing the results come through. So with that, what I want to do is go over these 3 points. So the first step is understanding food, right? What is food, right? Food is made up of 3 different types of nutrients. We have proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Numerous foods fall under each of these macronutrients, but food all falls under the 3. Okay, so everything that you eat falls under one of those macronutrients. And sometimes we have foods like people call superfoods. They're superfoods because they have all 3 macronutrients in that food source, plus some micronutrients like fiber. So, for example, like I used to hear this, I was like, oh, I get why they call it superfood, because like cocoa nibs, they're considered a superfood because they have fats, they have carbs, they have protein, and they have fiber. Goji berries, another superfood. They have all 3 macronutrients in there. Now, this doesn't mean you're getting a full serving of these macronutrients. It just means that the genetic makeup of this food has those properties in there. So that's another thing we need to get straight. A serving size, okay? Protein and carbohydrates. Protein is 20 grams, okay? 20 grams of protein equals 1 serving, okay? Fats, carbohydrates, 15 grams of either a carbohydrate or a fat equals 1 serving. Now, your fats are higher caloric density, meaning they have more calories per gram. They carry 9 calories per gram of fat. Protein, carbohydrates, they each have 4 calories per gram. Okay? So when you're on a weight loss journey, or you're looking to reduce body fat, which is basically a weight loss journey, we want to lose body fat, right? So our lean muscle can be reflected. When we're losing that body fat, we have to be mindful because we have to be in a calorie deficit, okay? This doesn't mean you have to go spend your days counting calories. What this means is you have to eat less than what your body needs to maintain the weight and not eat above that, right? If we go above our maintenance, we're in a surplus, which means we're going to gain weight. If we eat at maintenance, we're going to maintain our weight. If we're eating below our maintenance, we're going to lose the weight. 2 ways to do this. 1, nutrition, the other, physical fitness. Now, you cannot outtrain a bad diet. If you're eating in a caloric deficit, but what you're eating doesn't give you the 3 macronutrients that you need, and you're super heavy in your carbohydrates and their processed foods, i.e. chips, candy bars, protein bars all the time that maybe aren't very good, stuff in packages and boxes versus real food, you're not going to see a lot of change in your body composition because your body's not getting the nutrients it needs, okay? So I know that's a lot of info right there, but I want to get something straight. If we don't know what food is, then we truly are not going to have a grasp, and we can't continue on and be able to keep and maintain that weight loss that you're after. Okay, so the goal is not having another meal plan or, Weight Watchers where you're not taught what food is and truly how to live life. So that's the goal here is 1, understand what a protein, a fat, and a carbohydrate is. Knowing that how much is a serving. So we know protein, you have to have 20 grams to have 1 serving of protein. Okay? This will come in later when we go over macros a little bit more. Carbohydrates, fats, 15 grams equals 1 serving. Okay? So when you're looking at nutrition labels on the back, it's going to tell you if you have a half a cup of this, you're going to get 10 grams of fat, 3 grams of carbohydrates, and 5 grams of protein. Okay? So when you look at that, you realize, oh, I'm not having a full serving here, but I'm still having some grams to go towards each of those macronutrients. So when we come into looking at our macronutrient breakdown, we have how would I put this? I want to see how I can simplify this, because this is something we really go in depth with in the Redefining Health program. So what you need to know really to make it simplified in your macronutrients is that you need to know, one, what your goal is. Is your goal to lose body fat and change your body composition, or is it to add more lean muscle? Okay. So most of you are coming to watch this because you're wanting to lose body fat. You want to lose the weight. So a generic rule of thumb for where you want your macronutrients. You want about 30 to 35% of your macros to be protein. Then you want 30 to 35% to be your carbohydrates, and then the balance 20 to 30% to be your fats. Okay, remember, fats have a higher caloric value than carbohydrates and protein. So I use fats as a filler. So I think about using them later on in the afternoon and evening because they help you feel more satiated. Okay, fat, the macronutrient fat does not burn energy, as in, it doesn't supply energy. Carbohydrates and protein are your body's primary source for fuel. We want our bodies to use our carbohydrate energy because that's what it's made for. When we don't have enough carbohydrate energy, sometimes our body will then go pull it from our protein in our muscle tissue and become catabolic and break down muscle tissue to then turn that protein into an energy source. We do not want that. That's why we have to make sure we're taking in enough carbohydrate energy and enough protein so our body has what it needs to operate optimally. The fat is going to help our body break down fiber. It's also going to help support our organs and our brain health. When we are in a caloric deficit, what happens is typically if you're fueling your body right with the carbs and proteins and your healthy fats, is that your body's going to tap into the excess fat storages, not the fat macronutrient, your fat storages, which is in your fat cells, okay, to utilize that, break it down as energy and glucose, okay? So as a rule of thumb, the majority of, so you can do a macronutrient calculator. You can find them anywhere. I have a couple I use. I have some that's a little bit more scientific that works a little bit better for the accuracy of what your basal metabolic rate is versus what you want to be doing in reducing and lowering your body weight. So if you need help with that or want one, let me know. I can drop you a link with what I use and use with my clients. So feel free to drop in the comments calculator and I'll get that over to you. So we're going to recap here a little bit and go back over. So number one is we really want to be understanding the types of food. So we have the 3 macronutrients. We need to know what falls into each of those categories. Because some of us are confused because we've had the media try to tell us what a fat is, what a protein is, what a carbohydrate is. But when you look at it, it tells you right on there what it is. Milk is not a protein, my friends. It's a carbohydrate. It's mostly sugar, okay? So just so you know, if you're trying to drink milk as a protein, that is not. You have a little bit of protein, but it's a carbohydrate. Okay, so I have a couple cheat sheets that I can hand out that break down fats, carbs, and fats, carbs, and protein. So if you want that, drop cheat sheet below and I can get those over to you. Because understand the types of food, what classifies as a protein, what classifies as a carbohydrate, and what classifies as a fat is going to allow you to know how to plate your food, okay, of what you should be eating to hit the goal of weight loss and body recomposition, okay? 2, understanding macros, right? So that pairs on to number 1, having that percentage down that we went over, that 30 to 35% for your protein, 30 to 35% for your carbohydrates, and 20 to 30% for your fats, okay? So your fats and your carbohydrates, you can interchange. This is a little more advanced, but they can be adjusted. Your protein is basically going to stay the same, okay? So again, if you need help with those macros, let me know, drop calculator below and I'll send you the calculation that I use to be able to get your breakdown, okay, based on your goals. Number 3 is allowing yourself room to have your fun foods, okay? Being highly restrictive is not going to allow you to get the results you want and sustain them. I hear time and time and time again, I don't like restriction because that's what you've done in the past and it's got you where you're at, going back and forth to all these different things, and your body is looking for something sustainable so it can regulate. The more dieting that you do, the more damage that you do to your metabolism, to your body systems. Okay. And it takes time for your body to be able to repair and get back to a place of balance. So it knows it's going to get the food and the nutrients it needs versus trying to hold on to everything. So when we do restrictive dieting, exactly what happens, your body system goes boop, and guess what? It rebels. So you have to be mindful when you're on a weight loss journey, it is slow and steady. If you're after quick fixes, you are going to jack up your body long term. So if you're after any type of quality life, as you get into your older years, you need to start getting on a sustainable, proven way to eat long term. And that means allowing yourself some fun stuff. I'm a chip girl, okay? Like there's certain chips I have to keep out of my house because I will eat the whole darn bag in one sitting if I'm not careful. Anybody else? So when I say have some of your fun foods, yes, it doesn't mean go eat the whole pie or go get a pizza and eat all of it. That means enjoy a slice or two, right? But you're being mindful of what you've eaten previously in that day. That doesn't mean you skip a meal because skipping your meal affects your metabolism. You want to be eating consistently every 2 to 3 hours consistently, okay? You might have bigger meals at your breakfast, lunch, and dinner and small little snacks in between to keep stoking that fire, okay? When we eat, then we wait 4 hours and we eat a huge meal, and then we wait for 5 hours and then we eat something tiny and we do this. Remember, our body wants this. So regulating and being more consistent in your eating is huge. And allowing yourself that room, because when you tell yourself you can't have something, guess what? You're really telling your brain you want it, and that's all you're going to think about. And then we overeat. Okay, been there, done that, and that's something that will continue to happen. It's something you have to continue to be aware of so you can work through it, so it doesn't happen as often, right? So one thing I love to do is going out to dinner. You want a cheeseburger and fries? Well, you can still stay on track. You can opt out for the bun and have it lettuce wrapped. Okay, and then have a few fries. Doesn't mean you have to have all of them, but you can have a few of them, and you're still staying within your macros and able to enjoy these foods. Okay, so this is something simple you can do, an easy swap. You know, maybe for that cheeseburger, you're gonna opt out for no cheese and no bun, and you're gonna get the small dessert, right? We don't have to have all that's on our plate. We get to enjoy the food, and when we're full, we're full. We don't have to feel like we have to clean our plate. Some of you might have grown up like I did, where you better finish what you're eating. There's people starving in Africa, right? There's going to be people starving everywhere, unfortunately. What really this is talking about is giving yourself permission to be on this journey and allow yourself to enjoy the food you like, but to eat them in moderation, meaning know your limits, keep the things out of the house that you know that you have no control, self-control over, right? Out of sight, out of mind. And then learn how to plate your food: protein, fat, carbohydrates. Get your numbers, start working towards them. This is not about being perfect, but it's about progress and being able to start practicing this. And you're going to see that weight come off. The more you focus on getting whole foods, real foods, lean protein, right? Fruits, vegetables, beans, legumes, whole grains. This is going to allow you to be able to easily, naturally start losing that weight because you're focusing on nutrient dense.
You don't know what to do when it comes to losing weight. You've read all the books, you've taken the courses, you download the ebooks, you've done the freebies, right? It's not that you don't have enough time to do what you know you need to do. Stick with me here, right? Because even though you're busy, right, you make time to get your hair and nails done, you get gas in the tank, you go grocery shopping, you go hang out with a girlfriend, right? You got that favorite show you watch. Why? Because those things are important to you. More importantly, you know the end result from doing those actions, right? You have that guarantee at the end. So I want to say this, you know, the problem you're running into with losing weight and getting it off and getting where you want to be is not that you don't have enough time. It's not that you don't know what to do, but you don't feel like you have a plan that actually works for you, that you know it's going to get you results, right? You don't know how to assimilate everything you have in your head of all the knowledge and put it into a practical plan. So how do you fix this? You fix this by joining us inside of the 5 days to a sustainable weight loss plan challenge. Yes, you're going to be able to get a proven framework that is going to allow you to be able to lose the weight, get in shape, right? In a simple, doable, and effective way, because it's built on principles, biblical principles that work if you work the principles, right? So we're going to be working through mindset shifts, to help you get into alignment with what you do want instead of focusing on what you don't want, so you can get the results that you want by taking the actions needed each day, right? Simple baby steps done day in and day out are going to get you incredible results in just 30, 60, 90 days, right? So are you ready? Are you ready to finally have a plan in place that is proven to work if you do the work, right? If you are, then I want you to click the link below and join us in the next round of the 5-day challenge. I'll see you there.